A 1-15 team takes a running back. You just took your franchise quarterback. You had a running back. And I'd be pissed if I was a Jacksonville fan. I love that, talking about Green Bay. He'll never find out. Believe me, nobody knows better what it looks like when an organization is about to go to shit than a New York Jet fan. And Justin Fields proved that he can hold it together. He can regroup. It's okay if he struggles. And we got a big game against the Eagles, and maybe you need some energy, so wake up! We have every right to expect the Jets to win. Rich Cimini, schmuck, putz. All right, welcome to Wacky Wednesday, episode 2. Thanks for being here, everybody, and got a great show planned for you. Want to start it out first off by welcoming some people in the chat. Thank you for Payo Time. It was fun setting up and seeing you in the chat room already, getting us laughing and everything back here in the studio. We got my brother Lee is there somewhere out there. Thanks for coming and supporting. Harry W., good to see you again, man, which felt like we were just talking about an hour ago, which we were. Tom Bon Jovi, my man, how are you? Good to see you. Rusty Spooner, my man, my draft buddy, because we want the same guys, I think. Good to see everybody here. Good to see you, Eric Craig. Thanks for coming. I got a special guest about to join me this week in my second episode. Everybody knows him. Everybody loves him. We get to see him on his channel, Pure Adrenaline Fantasy Sports. What we don't get to see is we don't get to see John from Pure Fantasy talking about his Jets. So I'm excited to bring him on and get everybody get a better feel for how he feels about the Jets. Maybe even get a little background about how John became a Jets fan. So let's welcome in John the Postman Post.
Jeremy, thanks for having me on. You're usually on my channel, so thanks for having me on your channel.
It's good to see you, man.
Good
to have you here.
What else is happening?
Oh, well, we got first of all, I want to tell everybody I had New York pizza today. Me and my wife drove 35 miles each way to go to the one place that sells completely legitimate Brooklyn pizza. So that was really nice. The dab is not happening yet, Rusty. They're already referring to the fact that I'm going to eat a teaspoon of the last dab. I'm getting close. 169 subscribers, 31 to go. We'll get there. I'm going to get Payo Time to go on his channel and tell people about it. Say, hey, you want to watch this Jet fan torture himself with a teaspoon of hot sauce and have to do a mock draft after doing it without drinking any water or milk? Go to NFL Chaos with Jeremy. Can you do that for us, Payo Time? You can get us to 30. You can do it, man. So anyway, John, let's get into it. Let's get into our Jets. And again, I want to say, if you haven't subscribed to Pure Adrenaline Fantasy Sports and you're into fantasy football, you're just throwing away amazing and valuable information, because John and his friend Sean have knowledge of all the great players, all the different position players, great opinions of who should start, who should sit, all that good stuff. Anything you want to say about the channel, John, before we get started?
No, just go over, give us subscribe. We're on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and Sundays at noon Eastern time during the season. This was our first year, so we're going to try to figure out what to do during the off season. I know there's going to be a lot of draft content, free agency coming up, and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to have a lot of content. We're going to go throughout the year talking fantasy sports. Maybe get some guys interested in dynasty leagues instead of just doing redraft leagues from year to year. Maybe get some guys interested in stuff like that, and keeping you up to date on projections and news and everything that's going on in fantasy.
All right. Sounds good. And as you can see, Payo Time is going to get some Rams fans in here. So I'm going to have to do some Rams content. So
that's all right, man. Payo Time, that is a great channel. If you're not, if the Jets aren't on, make sure you guys are watching him. He keeps it entertaining. I'm not going to give away all of his secrets here, but definitely worth watching him during a game.
All right. In honor of Wacky Wednesday, Payo Time is getting us started with a wacky question. So before we jump in, let's address this question. I guess we'll both answer it. Would you rather have season tickets to the Jets in the worst possible seats, or get to watch every home game on the sideline, but you have to wear the same outfit as the cheerleaders?
Well, first off, nobody wants to see this in a cheerleading outfit, so that I can tell you. I would not be wearing a cheerleader outfit no matter where the seats were.
I would do it, and I'll tell you why. The reason I would do it is he didn't say which cheerleader outfit. So there are boys and girls in the cheerleading squad
true.
sometimes, right? So maybe I get to wear those kind of cool, pants and everything like that, and not have to wear a skirt. But either way, you're gonna get on TV. The announcers are gonna wonder about it. They're gonna talk about me. And somehow I'm going to get NFL Chaos with Jeremy into the conversation, and it'll probably get me to a couple of thousand subs. So
there you go.
I
didn't think of it that way.
Don't turn down any opportunity. I'm not too proud.
I don't know. I'm not wearing that stuff. Sorry.
Okay. And Rusty Spooner says, this is a message to Peo. My favorite all-time player was a Ram, Deacon Jones. I'm sure Peo knows him well. and he likes our answer. And just so you know, Rusty and everybody else in the chat, Peo Time is the LA Rams YouTube content provider. There's no reason to go anywhere else for your LA Ram needs. And if you're saying, well, why would I want to check out that channel and care about the LA Rams? Well, I think it's interesting to go to the other channels and see what the fans or how they act and how they feel, and what, especially come around draft time, to see which players they like and who they're talking about in the mid rounds and who they want to pick. It's a lot of fun to do that. Plus, Peo has a lot of great watch parties. If you want to watch a Rams game and just watch him call the Rams game and watch, again, how those fans think and feel. And you might find out that they're just like us.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. First off, John, what state do you live in?
I live in Pennsylvania.
Okay, so you live in PA. You live closer to Philly or Pittsburgh?
Closer to Philly. We're probably about 90 minutes north of Philadelphia.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So, wow, you're up there.
So actually where we are, we're about 90 minutes north of Philly, but we're also about 90 minutes west New York City. So
okay. So you can make it up to games if you want sometimes?
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yep.
And did you grow up there your whole life?
No, grew up in North Jersey. So growing up, we always got Giants and Jets games.
Okay.
Most of the family is Giants fans. I don't know how I ended up with the Jets, but been a fan since '86 and been disappointed since '86 as well.
I feel you. I have a few years on you, but most of our suffering and our experiences were the same. You just got to be spared the mud ball in 1980.
Yeah, that was a little like, I kind of remember football back then, because I do remember guys like Theismann and Riggins at the end of their careers for Washington Redskins back then. But like I didn't start actually rooting for a team until the Jets in '86.
Ah, interesting. So I gotta say, one of my first memories of football was that I have. My earliest memory, I guess I was like 9 years old, and it was the Super Bowl, Rams and Steelers. That was when the Steelers had Bradshaw with Swan and who's the other great wide receiver they had? They had Swan and how am I dropping that name? Something long name, Stallworth. And my brother, I remember, was rooting for the Rams. So I guess I was rooting for the Rams because I didn't know anything or about any team. So my brother wanted the Rams to win. He's 7 years older than me. That's right. 7 years older than me. He's old. And I rooted for the Rams that game. And that was before I really knew that much about football. But I do remember that game. I remember the Rams were winning, I think, at halftime. They were up. And then I remember in the second half, the Steelers do what the Steelers do, and they ended up winning that game. And Gitmo Bob chimed in. I guess he said it before I said it with Stallworth, and I knew Gitmo would know that, and my brother knew that too.
Harry in the chat said 86. I'm a rookie.
Well, I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking A little bit. I was like, wow, man, I got some time on you. I got about 5 years on you, but Harry has years on both of us. So, you know. And here is my artist. All the graphics you see on my site actually came from a friend of my brother's, but he took it from our other site, our Cravat Attack Hot Sauce site, and manipulated it and made it useful for my site. So thank you for that, Matthew. And I figured you'd be playing your new PS game right now, but I guess you took a break. Anyway, moving forward, we all know how you became a Jets fan now because you're from Jersey originally. It makes total sense. And one day we'll hear the story of how Payo Time became a Rams fan living in Toronto. That's going to be interesting. But anyway, let's get to business. So one of the big things happening, and it happens a lot of times this time of year, and as we grow on YouTube and Twitter, the Jets community, I guess we're experiencing, they probably went through this before, but I think last year it wasn't as controversial. I think probably 90% of the fan base by the 11th game were rooting for the Jets to lose because of Trevor Lawrence. There was no Zach Wilson in the picture yet. There was no Trey Lance in the picture yet. Mac Jones was projected to go near the end of the first round, early second round at that point. It was really just a one-man show. It was Trevor Lawrence, and then, of course, there was Justin Fields. But I think they talked about Trevor Lawrence to be more like the generational guy. But anyhow, even the few Jet fans that did want Justin Fields over Trevor Lawrence, everybody had one thing in common, and they wanted the Jets to lose to make sure that we were finally able to solve the problem of a franchise quarterback. This year, it is not as clear. We're much more split as a fan base, and I see a lot of fighting going on Twitter, a lot of people saying if you're rooting for the Jets to win, you're a fool. I see people saying if you're rooting for the Jets to lose, you're not a Jets fan. I don't love any of that. I don't like the infighting, because I think at the end of the day, everybody has their own interpretation, opinions, and feelings about what's best for the Jets, and I respect everybody's opinion on that. I'm curious about where you stand on that whole thing.
I agree with you. Last year, I forget how far into the year, it was finally like, you know what, we're definitely not that good of a team. Adam Gase is not going to be the one leading this franchise. So let's lose out. Let's get that generational quarterback. Once in, I don't want to say a lifetime, but once every 10, 15 years, one of these guys comes along. And we were all of us were rooting for losses last year, and to get back-to-back wins against I believe we beat the Browns and the Rams. It was so disheartening, frustrating. But that was last year. Now, me as a fan this year, I wanted wins. We've got a new head coach, completely new coaching staff. And I knew looking at the schedule, we weren't in the roster. We weren't going to be a playoff team this year. Yeah. But I wanted to see improvement. I wanted to see a team that could be competitive, and we're starting to see that. This team is starting to come together a little bit. We did have a lot of 20 some odd players out with COVID. Our coach was gone. It just, and I'm not gonna. I would never belittle a fan for wanting a win or a loss. They can make up their own mind what they think is best for the team we all root for. Me personally, I think wins this year is best for this team. No matter where, there's plenty of talent in this draft coming up. Right now it looks like we're going to have 2 top 10 picks. So Douglas might be able to do something to either move up or, depending on who's there, maybe even fall back and gain some more for future years as well. But that's where I am. I am rooting for wins this year, but I'm not against any fan that's hoping we lose to get the better draft pick.
Right. The key thing is respect, right? Respect each other's opinions, and I understand it because I wanted to win. Last week I was with Green Bean Utley on Sunday, and most of the game I wanted to win. And then when Jacksonville was on that goal line, like on the edge of scoring, there was a slight tinge of disappointment when they didn't score. I'm not going to lie, because I felt like there was nothing more for the Jets to do. But then I saw the locker room celebration and the celebration for Ron Middleton, and I went back again. So I'm so back and forth on it, which is why I could debate either side. But by Monday, I said I'm just going to enjoy the victory part of it. I'm not going to worry about the draft. I'm going to enjoy winning because we just don't get that feeling enough. So Harry, obviously you saw was win. Thomas Cahill, welcome to the chat and the stream. He says the route is over. Next 2 games are L's. Next 2 games don't mean as much to me, only because I don't really believe we're going to win anyway.
Right.
So the next 2 games for me is really just not embarrassing ourselves and hope that Zach can play well against 2 very good teams and 2 very good defenses.
Yeah, and you talked about the reaction in the locker room, not only for Coach Middleton, but when Sala came up on the screen, you could also hear the team get very excited. That tells me we got the right guy in charge of this team.
Yeah. You can see how my brother believes in the development of culture and winning, so he's into that. We got Green Bean in the chat.
Hey, Green Bean, what's up, buddy?
Green Bean, it's good to see you out there. Hope you're doing well. He just drove to Orlando from Fort Lauderdale, so that was probably a bit of a drive, especially because he was up late last night streaming. And I had a feeling we weren't going to do a mock draft last night when he told me, when he was telling everybody how early he was going to have to get up to drive.
Oh.
Oh, all right. I'm sorry your date was canceled, but it's good to have you back, Peyote.
His date canceled.
Yeah. We were talking about the Jets beating the Rams last year for a second, and I was going to mention, because I didn't know you left, that eventually I want to have you on the show to talk about that. I really want to have a discussion about who was more pissed and angry. Was it the Jets fan base or was it the Rams fan base? Because maybe never in the history of football would you have 2 fan bases so angry when one of the teams beats the other, and both fan bases wanted the same outcome and were just as pissed as each other for the outcome. What do you think about that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know where Rams fans. I'm sure they were upset, but I know we were definitely upset. We that's a team we shouldn't even be, competitive with. And we ended up beating them. I mean, we beat Cleveland last year because at the time we played Cleveland, they were like us this past week where they had everybody out on COVID. So I could see getting that kind of win. But the Rams just didn't show up then.
Yeah. That was just a strange game. That was the last game I thought we would be winning. And Green Bean disagrees with you. I think everyone should agree with me and how I see it. Yeah, Green Bean, because that's exactly the way you are. You don't respect anybody else's opinion. Just kidding. That's what we model the show after, right? Everybody was, we learn from Green Bean. We're like, Look, it's a show that doesn't insult its guests. It's a show that actually respects everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah. So we take it. I'm a pod in the green pea bean. So I have to. So I live up to that reputation. That's like number 1 rule: respect all opinions, value everybody.
Yep.
Rusty Spooner, I'm hoping we fall back in the first if we can't get Hutchinson. Well, I don't want to fall back too far, but I feel, in the mock drafts, I'm the same way. When we don't get Thibodeau or Hutchinson, I'm a lot more open to trades when I do the mock drafts, but I never do a trade when one of those 2 slip to the 4 spot.
Yeah, I agree. Usually I haven't done I've done some mocks, but I haven't put them up on the our channel yet. But if one of those 2 guys is gone by the time I make my pick, I'm usually looking to see what the trade offers are. Not completely trading out of the first, but definitely getting future draft capital.
Yeah. It looks like we might have another question. Is Zach Wilson a quarterback you can see winning MVP one day, or do you see more as a Big Ben quarterback who gets wins but not MVP? Well, I'll start by saying if the Jets win Super Bowls at any point, in the next 10 years, like if 3 to 4, and most of us are patient and we understand this process that we're doing a full rebuild. So let's say in 2024, 2025, we win a Super Bowl. I don't care if Zach is an MVP quarterback or if he's a Big Ben. It'd be nice to know that it wasn't just a great team built around an okay quarterback that we lived with. Like I wouldn't want him to be like a Goff, and that's I'm not throwing any sticks at you, Payo time. What I mean by that is I don't want it to be the rest of the team having to carry him. I want it to be based on the fact that Zach Wilson is the franchise quarterback that we want us to stick around his entire career. But I would take a Ben. Like Ben might not have won MVP, but Ben Roethlisberger, if you told me Zach is going to have a career like Ben's, I take that in a heartbeat and I love it and I'm dancing for joy.
Agreed 100%. I believe Ben's won 2 Super Bowls. I know at least one. So if that's the comparison, give me the Super Bowls. I don't care about season MVP awards.
Yeah. And I could see and can I see him winning an MVP? I mean possibly. If it depends on right now, I don't see any any evidence for or against really. I see some flashes of brilliance. I see some things of concern, but there's just no way to know. As the years go by, like next year we see if he progresses. And then the year after that, we see if he progresses. And it's almost impossible to pick at quarterback if that happens or if a guy just levels off and just doesn't go to that next level. I see the potential in his athletic ability and his talent. But will he mentally get there? Will he slow the game down enough? Will he get over this mental thing of, as far as accuracy? I know he's physically capable, but like we got to get through these days of inaccuracy where he can't throw short, he's very inaccurate in short passes and things like that. But we've already seen incredible improvement on not throwing interceptions and not getting tricked by the defense as much.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. And Joe Campione, who I thought, he doesn't care. He was like wins over, he doesn't care about MVP. Right. He just wants to win. And yes, I think we all agree with that. When you've been losing as long as we have. Gitmo Bob said, I said early on the Jets would struggle and play better as the year went on. Just didn't figure the injuries. No problem picking up the new systems and LaFraud.
Still calling him LaFraud.
He is not sold on LaFraud, but I do think Gitmo is feels a little bit better about LaFraud than he did after the first few games. I think he shared that with me, but he's not completely convinced. And that's okay. I don't expect everybody to be, fully convinced. I'm not fully convinced. I think we'd be fools to be completely convinced. He's a rookie OC. I will say that Gitmo Bob is 100% not embellishing anything. He, from the beginning, was saying, rookie this, rookie that, rookie that. Everybody needs to calm down and stop predicting all these wins. It's going to take time. And Gitmo is definitely showing his experience and knowledge when he made those predictions because it's, everything he said is happening. And I think the injuries made it worse. I agree with Gitmo about that too. I think we would have come together and looked better the last few weeks if it wasn't for all the injuries. Nobody could have seen that coming. What do you think, John?
Yeah, agreed. And I understand still calling him LaFraud. I know when he first went up to the booth, our offense was I believe top 10. The first few weeks he was up in the booth. But then Zach Wilson came back and more injuries started happening and more players out. So and I know you're going to have growing pains with the rookie quarterback. So I mean Zach probably can't read the whole field yet. I don't know that for a fact, but he's still learning. He even said they were talking during the game on things they talked with Zach Wilson about that he wants to improve on in the offseason. So we know we have a guy that knows he needs to improve, but the way you improve is getting on the field and playing the actual games.
Yeah.
Because I know there's some fans that would rather have Mike White playing because he looked better. But Zach Wilson's our future. and he needs to be playing every game when he's healthy.
Yeah. I just want to say I completely misread Gitmo, 6-7 months ago. I thought, oh, this guy is so negative in the beginning, and then I realized he's just really smart, and you just gotta, you gotta respect everyone's views. Gitmo's been around, and he proved to be right. He wasn't being negative. He wasn't down on the Jets. He was just saying, hey, everybody, chill out. Like we're in a rebuild. We got new young players. We're not going to win 10 games year one. And if everybody would have went in with that mindset, maybe we wouldn't have all been freaking out. So, after 3-4 weeks, Tom Bon Jovi, my man, my friend, I mess up his intro. Frankie is really good at doing the introduction to Tom Bon Jovi. I just say he came in on a steel horse. What's the best possible pick we can end up with if the 3 teams in front of us win and we lose both games? I think that the highest we can go is the second pick, if I'm correct.
I believe I'm looking at it over on tankathon.com right now, and I believe you're right. I believe the second pick is the highest we can get up to.
Second pick. So I have a feeling we're losing out. I don't see Houston and Detroit winning out.
Well, especially Detroit, but right now we're tied with Houston. So it does look like we'll lose our last 2. I'm not sure who Houston has, but if they win one of those games, we can move up to the number 3 spot. And depending on what I don't know who Seattle has either, but we have their pick as well.
Okay. Let's see. What was Peo saying? I would gladly collab for that. Oh, okay. So Peo is saying he's talking about the Rams fans and the Jets fans and who was more upset about that game. So you just let me know, Peo. That's probably, I'm imagining, for everything with the playoffs coming up for you and all the work you're doing, that's another thing that we're going to put to the end of the season. But if you want to do it before that, let me know. Is my reactions to the loss of the Jets last year. Oh, that was your first video.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, I want to see that now. Everybody check that out. If you want to see a Rams content provider react to the losing to the Jets, go to Peo Time's YouTube channel and check that out. That's really cool. Well, not cool for him.
No.
I want to keep seeing the steady progression of Zach and crew. Yeah, that's what it's all about for me too, Rusty. I don't like losing the next 2 games is not going to make me feel bad at all if Zach doesn't throw, if Zach throws 1 pick in the last 2 games of the season combined, 1 pick, and gets a few touchdown passes and looks good and shows some of those, the shining, shines a little bit and continues to progress. And Michael Carter looks good, still continues to break first tackles. There's ways to lose and still feel good about a young team. And that's the best we can hope for right now, right? We just want to lose, but we want to be competitive, and we want to show that we can go toe-to-toe for a little bit, on certain drives and have good success against a team like Tampa. And then we certainly want to see that against Buffalo. What do you think, John?
Yeah, agreed. Just, be competitive. I know these teams are still fighting for playoff seedings and stuff like that, but show the league, you know what, we're improving, and we're not just going to be a pushover like we have been in years past.
Yeah, exactly. I think the lowest place we can go is 3. So it seems like we could go to 2, though, right? So,
very, very unlikely.
Very unlikely
because Detroit would have to win both of their games.
Right. So let's go to Joe. Said something about, I think the lowest we can go is 3. Okay, so we already said that. Let's see what
2 of
Green
Detroit
Bean is saying.
wins too. Oh, flat tire for Green Bean.
I'm sorry. Got to catch up to us. Skip it, Bob. Rough one today, Bob. Flat tire, broken jack, on and on. I almost got divorced today.
Oh, that's not good.
I gotta say,
sounds like he might need a counselor. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, me and Green Bean always find out we have a lot in common. Like one time he was driving on the road alone, right? He was like running a chore. He had to go work out or pick things up. And I said, "Do you ever get tempted at moments like this to sneak off to a McDonald's and get some double cheeseburgers?" And he looked at me and he goes, "We are exactly the same." He goes, "I think about that all the time." um and yeah, if that happened to me on the road, that kind of stuff that happens in my life is, if anything was going to get me or my wife one to kill the other or hurt the other, it would be that. It would be going through an experience like that where we get a flat tire on the side of the road. And I'm like, I'm not the kind of guy that can fix that. Why couldn't you be the kind of wife that can? No.
I'm not the kind of guy that can fix that.
Happily, Green Bean is all safe and sound. And I know that because I had a little conversation with him. If you're a Patreon on Green Bean Jets fan, every Wednesday night you get to talk and have private conversations with just a few people and Green Bean on on an app called Discord. And he's going to be announcing some really exciting stuff. So I won't talk about it. Don't worry, Green Bean. I'm just telling them that you're going to be announcing really exciting stuff. So don't miss out on those announcements in Green Bean's upcoming shows, and you'll find out all about being a Patreon of his site and all the different benefits and everything. But I got to know that he made it to Orlando safe and sound before everyone else. Me and Harry W both got to know because we are Patreons of the Green Bean Jets fan site, and you all should be too. And I am not a paid sponsor for the Green Bean show.
I know Green Bean was doing. I think he was trying to get 5,000 subs. Did he get to that mark?
No, I think he missed by a little bit. He's like at 4,600, but he did get to 1,000 on Full-Time Coaster Tour.
Oh, nice.
And it's still pretty fantastic and amazing. When you think about what he accomplished, people are happy to get to 300-400 subs in their first year, and it's great success, right? Like amazing. Like very few people do it. And imagine that he started a year ago and he's already at 4,500. It's just ridiculous. But it shows his popularity from Jets Nation, and people knew him and loved him, and and just how he just picks up viewers every time as he keeps going.
I mean, it's not easy. We started Pure Adrenaline the Thursday that the NFL season kicked off. We were just finally like, you know what? Enough talking about it. Let's just do it. And our only goal for this first season was to get to 100 subs. And we did that at the beginning of December. But it's a grind. If anybody's thinking about starting a YouTube channel, just be prepared to work.
Yeah, I got a little bit of a boost because of Green Bean and him having me on all the time, and guys like you having me on your show all the time. So, and then the work I did with Frankie for a while on his channel. So I had a bit of a boost from all of that. Some people knew who I was, but as soon as that kind of tank ran out, and I kind of got like what I was going to get from that. I saw what the grind was. I got a little bit more of a push ever since I promised to eat that teaspoon of hot sauce. I'm very lucky that Ryan from Jets Talk 24/7, for some reason, really wants to see me have to eat the hot sauce. Because of that, he's been helping me out a lot. So here's a serious question from Green Bean. For you, Postman, who is he taking with our first? If he has his way, best case scenario. So if you get to decide who we're taking or what we're doing with our first two picks, what are you doing, John?
Best case scenario, I do like Hutchinson. I had the guys in front of me here. If Hutchinson's there at our pick, he's got to be. To me, he has to be the pick. I know there are some guys that don't like Thibodeau. There are, I think he's definitely the second best edge rusher in the class. So I would not be upset with that pick. But I believe our first pick, 3 or 4, wherever we actually end up, needs to be an edge rusher there. And then the second pick, depending on who falls, if we stay at 6 like we are now, depending on who might fall, if a guy like Kyle Hamilton's still there, I know there's some guys that don't want a safety that early. Maybe falling back and getting some draft capital and maybe picking up an offensive lineman somewhere along the way. But definitely to me, the first pick needs to be edge.
Okay. Yeah, I made the mistake in my mock draft 5. You know, I do them every couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
And I made the mistake of making a trade out of the first pick and gambled on getting George, I guess, with the next pick and didn't get him. And then I forgot to take Ajubu. I can never say his name. The other guy from Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
I had a brain fart and I took Greg Lloyd. And once you get out of that first round and you didn't take an edge, that's it. You're done. So of course, in the comments from the chat, I Gitmo ripped me apart, and some other people I just got ripped apart. They're like, "How can you not take an edge?" No matter they go, "You got a lot of good players, but it's a failure of a draft if we don't get an edge." And I don't believe I can't argue that. Like it's we've needed it for so long, and I don't jump. I'm not on the Carl Lawson bus, not because I didn't love Carl Lawson like everybody else. Unfortunately, I listen and I trust Frankie from Flatbush. I trust him a lot. Everything, he doesn't just say things. Everything he says is very informed.
Mm-hmm.
Frankie did some research and he confirmed that it is not common to come back from this injury that Carl Lawson has. Like it hasn't happened a lot.
Right.
Most guys come back and are not the same. They never become the same player that they were. I don't know that is what is definitely going to happen to Carl Lawson, but it's enough for me to say we have to consider Carl Lawson a question mark.
Right. Agreed.
So
agreed, and that's to me why edge needs to be, unless for some reason we win these last 2 games, and fall back towards the bottom 10, and maybe one of these couple guys, Karlaftis and Thibodeau and Hutchinson aren't there. But yeah, we got to come out of the first with an edge.
Yep. So Payo Time is going to send me that video, the link to make it easier to find. I'll tell you what I'll do, Payo Time. I will cut it and chop it up a little bit and get it ready. So when we do our collab in the future, we'll be able to react to that video. You and will show us watching your video and we'll react to a little bit about it. So I already got some good ideas for our collab, for our collaboration. That is like an old tree, the big dude. I guess that goes back to before. Yeah, we'll take Ben.
Yeah, I would take that if that's the kind of career Zach Wilson's going to have. I'll sign me up for that.
Yep. Let's jump ahead to Gitmo, who says, "Can you see JT trading back up into the first round if Linderbaum slips to say 25?" Before last year, being a Jets fan, I never expect those kind of things because it's never in my life. We never did. And maybe I'm wrong and people are going to remind me, but for some reason I had it in my head before last year that we were never the team that did those big, bold moves and got guys that panned out. And, so I never really got that feeling about the Jets. But then after the AVT thing, I wouldn't be shocked. Whether it be for Lindenbaum or somebody else, maybe like Sauce Gardner or whoever it was, if somebody slips. So no, it wouldn't shock me. I just know that it would be a punch to green bean stomach because if we did that, that it means we're giving up some picks. And I know, and last year, I also I'll never forget his face when we gave up those 2 third rounders. And then how he felt a little bit better when he found out we got the 4th rounder. What do you think, John?
Yep. Agreed. I don't know. I know at the beginning of the football season, I know there were some fans who were already looking forward to the draft because they knew we had 2 first-round picks. And Linderbaum was one of the guys that guys were really high on at the beginning of the year. And now he seems like he has dropped pretty far down in the draft where guys are, if he's available at 25, which is a real possibility now. Do you make a trade to get up to him, or maybe with that second first rounder you trade back and
Mhm.
maybe trade back a couple times and still get a guy like Linderbaum later in the first after taking your edge early on.
Yeah, yeah. Lots of possibilities. There's so many possibilities. I wish I knew how accurate or true that simulator is. Like, do you really get offered that many trades? Are the phones ringing like that? I mean, it's like I would love to talk to an insider to tell me if it's really like that.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure. I don't know how in depth they get, but I'm sure. There's calls all the time saying, "Hey, what's it going to take for us to move up 12 spots here to get your pick and
mm,
you dropping down a bit?" But
mm.
yeah.
We have a question from your friend Peo Time, who's now my friend too. Are you still a believer in the Robert Sala hire after 1 year? Um, Absolutely. If anything, even more than I was, and I'll tell you why. Because Robert Sala told us from the very beginning that this was a rebuild and it's a year of learning and a year of evaluation. And he has never pulled back on that. And he's kept his cool. He's been a solid guy. There's a few things I'd like to improve. Okay, we could talk about that. There's some things that I want to see him learn and grow and do, but that doesn't impact my belief in him at all. Um, I love that he's sticking to this plan because I've said it from when we started doing it last year and I realized what was happening. This is the first time I feel like we're making a real effort to be a great organization, not just try to make it to the playoffs for a year and see if we can just somehow do it by free agency and putting band-aids on. It's the first time I really feel that we're doing something that could make us a sustainable, great franchise. And Sala is perfect for that because you could tell he's not just drinking the Kool-Aid of Joe Douglas. You can tell these are two guys that found each other, that want and believe in the same thing.
Hmm.
What do you think, John?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the big things, even before I chime in on Sala there, when the Jets got rid of Gase and the Johnsons made the decision to put Douglas in charge, that told me the Johnsons as owners were getting serious about turning this around.
Yeah.
So and letting him do that, and then Sala, who even said uh, earlier on, saying there's going to be games where we look like we can compete with anybody, and then there's going to be games where we look like we don't belong in this league.
Yeah.
He knew what things were going to look like at the beginning of the year. He tried to keep expectations down. And like I said earlier on, to see the team's reaction when he popped up on the TV monitors in the locker room shows to me we got the right guy leading the team here.
All right, cool. We agree on so much. No fights on this show. When are we
No,
going to start
that's all
fighting?
right.
LaFleur sucks. LaBooth is the man.
LeBooth is the man. I mean, there is. I mean, look at earlier on, our numbers were better because the quarterback play was a little bit better. But overall, just look at the team. I don't want to not getting blown out, but the games have been competitive since Zach came back. I think we lost to the Saints, got by 3 scores or something like that. But for the most part, we've been able to score, and now we're at the beginning of the year. Our defense looked like it was going to be okay, and now it's kind of turned around where the offense looks okay and the defense is struggling. Now there's a lot of not having Lawson all year and really our linebackers aren't that great, but things have turned around on offense definitely.
Yeah, it's hard to not see that things got better when he went to the booth. And
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not going to sit there and analyze, well, who were we playing and is it just a happenstance? I'm not going to get into that. I'm just going to simply say there's no reason why he shouldn't be in the booth. It's
Right.
working. He looks more comfortable up there, and that's where he should be.
And I wonder why he didn't, because we all knew he wanted to be up in the booth. So at the beginning of the year, why was it set that he was going to be on the sideline? Just so he can communicate with Zach, or
Yeah, well, I wonder if that was after the sudden loss. Like maybe the original plan was that he was going to be in the booth, and then our coach passes away, the one
right,
experienced
Knapp,
coach
yeah.
on offense, and maybe maybe, and then they hired Kavanaugh, right? And then, so maybe he wanted somebody down there. He wanted him down there. And once they got Kavanaugh and he was settled in, he said, okay, you can go up to the booth. Maybe it had something to do with that.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some things I wish we could find out as fans,
Yeah.
but our beloved sports writers here in New York aren't always looking for the best in-depth questions.
Right, because it doesn't make a great headline for them, right?
Right.
It doesn't make a great headline to say the real reason why LaFleur went to the booth, or why was LaFleur not in the booth the first 4 games. They think is old news, and they don't realize that, and that's why we need somebody, to let everybody else get all the clickbait stuff, and for the 10, whatever it is, whether it's 10% of the fan base, 15% of the fan base, let that one beat guy or the one reporter or one person that gets inside access to get the entire 15% of the fan base that actually wants answers like that, that's actually interested in the team, and not like a magazine, like an Esquire magazine or something with headlines and clickbait, but really wants to get into the thinking of our organization. And I don't know what percentage of Jet fans that is, but I think there's enough of us that if somebody on the inside would actually ask those kind of questions and give that information, they would be really successful. I think the best person we have on the inside right now is probably Sabo.
Yeah, I honestly don't. I get all my content from watching everybody on YouTube, between Green Bean, Ryan, Matt, Jets Media. Now with your channel, you started with the mock draft, so now I've started looking at all this stuff. But yeah, I mean, that's nothing we're getting from the beat. So
yeah. So the problem is we need somebody on the inside. I know that Braden is working to help get Frankie on the inside. I don't care who it is. We just need somebody on the inside. You know what I mean? We need somebody in that press room to represent the reflective and thoughtful Jets fan, I'll say.
Right. The fans that want to know exactly what's going on with the team and not,
Yeah. Zach played like shit also his first year at BYU, just like it really remind me of Elway in a way. Well, Zach definitely got a lot better. I'd say I don't want to say he played like shit his first year at BYU completely. I think what happened was because his first game ever against Hawaii, he looked like Zach Wilson. Like he came as a 19-year-old freshman, and it was like they were on a 3-game losing streak, and Hawaii was like on a 4-game winning streak. And Zach came in and lit that team on fire. I would say that he struggled his sophomore year and towards the end of his freshman year because he was playing injured. But he definitely slowed the game down too. I'm not denying that. I'm not saying it was just the injury. He started working with that quarterback coach. He definitely came into that last year into 2020, a different quarterback, not just healthy, but also almost like that, he really changed his mindset and was more prepared than he ever was. But the flashes were there. If you watch old tape of him in 18, like if you go Zach's first game or BYU versus Hawaii, watch his first game, you'll see that the flashes were there. That like there was always a very special talent with Zach.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, but he did play poorly in 2019. I mean, he didn't even start 2020 the captain, but there were injuries. So there's, and I don't know if that's excuses. I don't know how much, I don't know how much of it you believe, how much of it you don't. When I watched some of his games from those early freshman games, I definitely saw that there was brilliance there, that there was potential there. And I think the real thing that Rusty's saying that I agree with is that Zach is going, I believe, maybe it's not a fact, but I believe that Zach is going to grow and become a much better quarterback as he adjusts to this level of competition.
Right. And I mean, it's only a few games, but you could see him, just since he's come back from injury, how he's, I don't have it in front of me, but I believe he's either second or first in rookie quarterback in like yards, touchdowns, least amount of. So he's looking a lot better, and looks like he's turning things around.
Yep. So Eric Craig chimes in. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. And says Sala isn't perfect, but a clear upgrade over the previous asshole. I mean, well, that's 100% accurate. Sala isn't perfect. He's a clear upgrade over the previous asshole. I do hope he's better than just being an upgrade over the previous asshole, because that's not a very high bar. So let's hope that there's a higher bar that Sala achieves than just being better than Adam Gase.
Well, and not just Sala, but the whole coaching staff. I remember last year, everybody talked about it on their channels. When something would happen in the games, Gase is sitting over by himself, sitting on the sidelines. You know, now when something happens, you see other players, other coaches are talking to the players about what's going on.
Yep. And now we're going to have our wacky little intermission, just a little wacky 10 seconds for you to make this a true Wacky Wednesday.
I'm having a catch with my head.
Okay. So there you have it.
What was that? Oh, that was funny.
Just, it's Wacky Wednesday. I had to do something wacky. So there you go. So if anybody says, why do you call it Wacky Wednesday? It's like, well, you never know what I'm going to do. Anyway, I believe that Sala is going to be, and I'm hoping more than just an upgrade. I'm on the Sala wagon. That doesn't mean I'm going to defend him to the end. If we're bad next year, we don't improve, and he's not growing, he's not learning, it doesn't mean I'm not going to jump off that ship and say, hey man, I love you as a person, I believed in you, but it's not going to happen. When we have to keep our eyes open. I don't want to get, some people just stay in denial forever. I'm not going to be like that. But for right now, I'm just all in. I'm all in on this.
Sorry, I'm laughing. I'm looking at some of the comments that are coming across about your little clip that you played there.
I'm waiting wait till I talk to Green Bean later about it. Dude, I don't know if you should be doing that, man.
Man, excuse me.
What does Get My Bob say? I just wish he would call the game the same for ZW as he did for White and Flacco. I don't
know if he's not. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that I agree with Gitmo. Like, people are saying, "Oh, it was the same offense," but the progressions were different. I think. Like my opinion is they did change a little bit. Like, it looked like some people will say it was the quarterback making that decision, but it felt to me like Michael Carter was set up as a safety valve more often than when Zach was playing those first 6 games. Like, I didn't see a running back literally run 5 yards and turn around every play. Always there in that same spot, like it felt like. And I think that what we can't see is the progressions. Like, who do you look to first? It seems like Zach was looking Corey Davis first, and working his progressions, whereas White was looking tight end or running back first. Like, he was looking at the shorter kind of things. I don't know. What's your opinion of that?
Right. Agreed. I think the other quarterbacks, now White hasn't played, but he'd been in the league longer, so maybe he's understood reads a little bit better. But I think that's what it's coming down to. I don't think they're changing the game plan all that much. Since Zach's been back, though, I think not having more has probably hurt a little bit, because he would have been good for check downs, getting open and stuff like that. So I really don't see much of a difference in the play calling. I just think it happens to be Zach still learning to read defenses.
And I have noticed that Zach is definitely, since he came back, dumping the ball off shorter now, like using his safety valves. Like, he definitely is hitting little shorter dink and dunks when he needs to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, what I don't like is, and me and Green Bean were talking about this on Jets Nation, is what I don't like is when they start Zach with like a deeper pass. Like, we both said it. Like, we were like, why would you throw a high risk 15, 20 yard pass right in the get-go? Like, let him get a rhythm. Let him do the little dump offs. That's what I say is purposely call up a quick slant or a play where, like, like the third game of the season or fourth game when Mims first played, they came across and Zach rolled a little and just hit him with that short, easy pass. And then Mims turned it into like a 15-yard gain. Like, start him with that kind of play. Start him with something simple like that.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And let him get the rhythm and let him work his way to those bigger passes. The other thing I'd like to see change is when we have a big play, like we just get a big turnover or we just get a bit, I want to see us go for it. Like, big turnover. We have the ball at the 30-yard line. Don't run the ball first down and 10. Like, take a shot at the end zone right at that moment.
They did that in the Tennessee game. That's to me, that's the only game that seemed like they did that. And they ended up winning that game, but they didn't go back to that. I'm like, man, this is the offense we've all been waiting for, and I don't know.
Yep. Look who's joining us from Australia. Hi all. Hi Jeremy. Jet Action. Booyah. Bismo Charismo. It's good to see you here. If you're still here, I don't know what time it is there. It's way off here. I don't even attempt to do the math, but good to see you, Bismo. Thanks for coming. Hope you're enjoying the show so far. Let's see what's going on here. So Green Bean, I hope everything is going to be okay with Mama Bear. It sounds like it will, because you guys talk things out. That's the key. Just don't leave things sitting. I think that everybody should get a free pass for like husband and wives. Everybody gets a free pass for what happens under incredible stressful circumstances. You know what I mean? Like when you're in an RV and you have two kids and it breaks down on the side of the road, I think that you get to erase everything that happens. So remember when Bob was laying into us for season prediction vids? I did. He said, I remember when Gitmo Bob was doing that, but he also, not just because we were predicting them to win, Gitmo was doing that because he doesn't like or doesn't, he's not into the whole predicting the scores in the games anyway. It's just not his thing. So we have a question from Payo Time. Are you guys going to cheer for the Rams in the playoffs? No pressure question at all. I will tell you that I probably will root for the Rams in the playoffs because, first of all, they're the team I have the least, like I have nothing. The Rams have never done anything or taken anything away from me. Dallas is annoying because they get to be called America's team, and and they get all this popularity and everything, and and they so many fans from other cities root for them, and it's just annoying, and then you look at some of the other teams. You're not going to root for Tampa because they got Tom Brady,
right?
Like, why not root for the Rams? And my exposure to a Rams fan is two people. I know two real Rams fans in the last couple of years that I've come across. The first one is a parent at one of the schools I work with, which is the greatest dude in the world. So we talk football all the time. He's a great guy. And then the second person is Payo, who I love watching, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like super cool and super fun. And it's like, there's nothing about the Rams that would make me not root for them when the playoffs start versus other teams.
Yeah. Too bad, when it comes to the playoffs, maybe there's a good Rams YouTuber I can watch during the games, Do you know anybody?
That's another reason to root for the Rams. If I'm going to be at his watch parties and stuff,
right.
I'm not that guy that wants to be rooting against the Rams in a Rams room at a watch party.
Right.
I want to have fun with them and celebrate with them. I'm not going to sit there. I'm not a glory hound. I'm not going to sit there and pretend that I'm as happy as if it was the Jets winning. But I could be happy for Payo, and I could be happy for those guys, right? And I could be a fan of Cooper Kupp, which I am, and just and cheer him on.
Yeah, absolutely. Cooper Kupp, you got to see. I don't know. I know you watched some of his live streams. Did you see the video Payo put out with Cooper Kupp and Reese's?
I didn't.
Oh, you have to check that
I
out.
heard about like the commercial. You mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I heard about it and people were talking about it, but I haven't. I have to go and watch it.
Yeah. Yep.
I have to go and watch it. How cool would be? Even if it, like, because we talk about Jet content providers and how we're better than the Beat. Well, I mean,
Mhm.
it's not just the Jets world. I mean, I think the Rams fans probably feel the same way about
Right.
Peo, right? That rather than listen to beat reporters that are going for clickbait and stuff, they probably, and this is one of the things that me and Peo could talk about one day, is I'm sure that they feel the same way, that they trust people on YouTube, like real fans that hear that where they could share a voice, like same thing with us.
Mhm.
So it'd be interesting to talk to him about that, but I'm sure that it would be really amazing for every YouTube content provider and all people that like to watch their football and get their football info from providers to see a guy like Peo make it to that point where it really happened. Like he got onto a real Reese's Peanut Butters Cup commercial.
Right. That'd be funny.
Like, wouldn't it be it would just be amazing. It would just
Yep.
be amazing. And it would be a win for everyone. It wouldn't just be for Peo. It would be for all YouTube content providers. I don't feel like I'm in that category to consider myself like and say it would be a win for me. Like, it's too early on for me. When I think about guys like Peo, I think Green Bean Peo, Matt O'Leary,
Right.
Jeff Talk 24/7 and Richie. Like I think of those guys as I'm trying to become that maybe at some little way, but those are the guys I think about. When I think about like the actual news providers and information providers.
Mhm. Right. Yeah, it's funny talking to people about doing a YouTube channel. They'll be like, "Oh, you're on YouTube? What? How many followers you have?" Yeah, 105.
Well, you got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
A friend of mine is in a band and they write their own music and everything. And they got to a point where, they never made it famous or made a living from it. But one of their singles sold 2,000 copies.
Mm.
And I said to him, I said, you have to understand how many people can write a song, write the music, record it, and get 2,000 people to buy it.
Right.
And for it to be played on, it was played on one of the stations on Sirius. And like,
Oh,
I was
nice.
like, I mean, it's pretty impressive. It's not like everybody is able to do, accomplish those things. So might not be getting rich from it, but you're doing it. That's the key. And I should take my own advice because I'm hard on myself too. But it's like, we're doing it. We wanted to do it. And rather than just talk about it, we're actually doing it. And then that's why I think I have so much respect for Green Bean and everybody else, is that they did it and stuck with it and stayed committed and, and continue to do it. And you could see that, it makes a lot of people happy. Like you see Harry and Gitmo and Joe and, Bismo Charisma all the way from Australia. It means something to people that, when Green Bean comes on, when Matt O'Leary comes on, and when Ryan is doing his thing. Pay a ration. So Gitmo is saying Peo Ration couldn't be any worse. Well, we're going to find out. That's going to be the fun.
Yeah, right.
That's why I want to do a collab with Peo. So,
but I don't remember last year when we beat them. Did they still end up like winning their division, or I didn't follow meeting Peo. Like I follow the Rams a little bit closer, so I know what's going on. But last year I couldn't tell you if they needed that for the division or a playoff spot or.
Yeah. So Eric Craig chimes in again. So the Jets have won 4 games this season, 2 last season. 10 next season. We can't accept any less than 8. Oh,
I want to
so
look
look,
up.
I actually put that in. Like I put that into a thing. I said at this rate we'll win 8 games next year, and then we're 16-1. And we're beating the Rams in the Super Bowl. Right? I mean, you think about it, and we think about what we did in the offseason. We stripped down that team. We completely stripped it down to like 4 or 5 guys, right? I mean, we said, okay, we got Becton, we got Q Williams, we got Marcus May, right? We thought we had something in Mims. Maybe we still do. I don't know. That's been a disappointment, obviously. All right. And we had a few guys. We had JFM and Foley that looked like, that who picked up and who found, right? Joe Douglas. So we had a little bit of some guys there. And Bryce Hall. We definitely had some people there, but not a lot. Not enough to make a football team. We bring in so many rookies. We let go of Bless Austin to start a 5th round or 6th round pick.
Yeah.
Right. So we basically said, look at what we did. We said we stripped down to nothing to rebuild. It's like, and my brother said it best. My middle brother, Matthew, said it. He goes, you guys are like a franchise expansion team.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you think about it, you strip down to that level. Yet within forget the 17th game, by week 15, the 15th game, we've won twice as many games as we won last year with unthinkable injuries. Unthinkable. Like your left tackle, your number one edge, the guy that was supposed to put pressure, the whole defense was going to be built around pressuring the quarterback, and the guy that was going to put you in the best position to do it got hurt before the season even started. So when you think about the injuries we've had, safeties, we're 6-7 safeties in. We won twice as many games as we did with a quarterback in his 3rd year, with a quarterback that's in his 1st year and backup quarterbacks versus last year, one of the same backup quarterbacks and a 3-year vet, right? A 3rd year quarterback. So there's progression there. We improved. So, the key thing now is we have to be better next year.
Yeah.
We have to be better. And I'm not saying we have to go to the playoffs. I'm not going to pick a number and say 8 has to be the number. If we won 7, but we're competitive in much more games and didn't get blown out anymore, and our new crop of picks were developing and progressing well, and Zach is part of the reason we win 7-8 games because he's growing and clearly playing much better, I could live with that.
Yeah, I actually just looked up our opponents for next year. Of course, our division opponents, but then our home games next year, we play Baltimore, Cincinnati, Chicago, and Detroit. And I guess whatever team from the AFC South finishes in the same spot we do. But then our road games, we go to Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Green Bay, Minnesota, the AFC West, and the NFC West next year. So definitely on paper, definitely a tougher schedule, but will also be improved. So we'll see. I mean, they played the games for a reason.
Yep. No, absolutely. And we got, so it looks like Green Bean's going to be in Florida for 2 weeks. Then it's on to Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, and California, baby.
Is he coming out to see you?
Well, he's going to be, I'm going to go through 6 ribs on that.
6 ribs.
I'm going to find out what his itinerary is. There is a very big amusement park in Santa Clara, California, where the 49ers play. I want you to know, when I first moved to the Bay Area in 1996, this is way before Sacramento, I went out there to live with my brother and get my first professional job. And I was working, and I got into the whole Silicon Valley thing, and I was working in a tech company. But before any of that, my first 3 months in California, when I got there, I needed some kind of work. I worked at the Marriott Hotel on Great America Parkway in Santa Clara. And next door was Great America Park, which was owned by Paramount at the time. I think it was before it was Six Flags. And it was right next door. So on the weekends, people would come and you got a special deal, $99 on Friday and Saturday night for the room. And you get a free ticket and pass to the amusement park and a shuttle over there, like a shuttle that brought you back and forth. And the other cool thing about it was working there was, and I happened to be there right about that time of year, it was in February, March, is that's where the 49ers training facility was. So they stayed at the Marriott. So all the football players would come and stay at the Marriott while they were in training camp. And Johnny Johnson, remember him? He was a Jet for a while. He played with
the running back.
He played for Arizona. Yep. When he played for the Cardinals, he was ridiculous against the Giants. He would kill the New York Giants. Then he came to the Jets and he was like, he had Boomer. The Jets weren't very good. He checks into the hotel. I'm behind the desk, and I tell him I'm from New York. I'm a big Jets fan. Welcome. I sent extra stuff to his room. I was totally, but I said something that probably pissed him off because I was too young and stupid to know that the players are friends. So he probably didn't appreciate it because I did at one point when he was leaving the hotel. I said, "Man, if Boomer Esiason could still throw a pass, you would have been so much better with the Jets." He probably didn't like that. He probably felt upset for Boomer. But Boomer didn't play very well for us. So
no, he did not.
What can I say? But I'll find out what Green Bean's itinerary is, and I will definitely go to where he is. If he's going to have to come to Santa Clara to go to Six Flags. So when he goes there, it's about an hour and 40-minute drive from me, and I have friends there, places I can crash. So I'll definitely be meeting up with him. Unless he runs, he might see me and go, run. like getting, I could see him with the kids pushing them back into the RV, lock the door. So me and Rusty, I've had mock drafts that look exactly like the scenario you're talking about. Exactly like it. Hutchinson slips. I take Hutchinson. I trade back to number 16, 17, get a bunch of draft capital, get some extra picks, and I take Lloyd. You could go back and watch the videos. I bet you one of my mocks has that exact scenario happening.
Yeah, and that wouldn't be that would not be a bad first round for this team at all.
Yep. Green Bean knows his Jets football. I agree with him. Yeah, I don't argue with Green Bean. I learn a lot from Green Bean. Thibodeau is playing now. I don't want to advertise that too much because my show is not over yet, but I am excited to run and watch it. I watched Charlie Kohler play before, and I actually was updating Green Bean on the play-by-play, and he only had like a couple of receptions until the end, and then in the fourth quarter, he caught a touchdown, and he looked really good. And I said, he did a nice little head fake, did a slant in the end zone, got open, made a nice catch, and I thought to myself, I could see him as a Jet. Let's see what else is going on before we finish up. If there's any more questions. I don't know why Gitmo fired me. What did I say?
I think that was back when we were doing the draft, I think.
Oh, okay. Good. I didn't want to, I was like, did I upset him? Wait a second. So Gitmo doesn't like George as much. He does. So we're just talking about players, but we don't got a ton of time, so I just want to jump ahead. So Joe likes Thibodeau. Thibodeau is very fast. Look, it's really, I'm not gonna sit there and go too crazy about Thibodeau versus Hutchinson. I personally, and it might be just the games I picked to watch. I haven't watched tons of film on every game. I watched the Thibodeau during the Oregon when Oregon played Utah or Utah State, whatever, and they got killed. And their entire game plan was to avoid Thibodeau, and they completely took him out of the game. Mm-hmm. Now, I will say, if the other team's strategy is their entire game plan is to take one player on the defense out of the game, that probably says a lot about that player. That's probably pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, they're 1A and 1B for me between Thibodeau and Hutchinson. I prefer Hutchinson. I've watched him play more living here in PA. We get a lot of Big Ten games, so I get to see Michigan play a lot. So, that's just me watching more of Michigan and liking that player more than I haven't watched enough of Thibodeau.
Right. Green Bean's going to look at George, the Greek, and I'm excited about that. I want to look at him too.
So am I. Go ahead. I think number 4 is a little early for Karlaftis, but maybe if the two guys aren't there, maybe if we still at 6, maybe trade back from 4 there, and hoping we get George at 6. But then we do have to worry about maybe the Giants taking him also. So
Either way, if George works out, like somebody had said that last year while we were in the draft party, after the Raiders took Leatherwood and everyone said they reached. Somebody made a really good point and said nobody remembers a reach if the guy works out. So if we were to take George with the 4th pick, and he's a stud defensive end that gets 15 sacks by his second, third year in the league, no one's going to care that we took him with the 4th pick. I was trying to get Green Bean to show me how he evaluates players. At first,
I'm telling you, guys, if you're watching this and don't watch Green Bean's mock drafts, man, Green Bean knows his stuff on guys I've never even heard of.
Yeah. So he mentioned about like how do you evaluate guys? So I thought he was going to offer to help me out a little. So I said, "Oh, you're going to show me how to evaluate guys?" And he goes, "That's proprietary stuff, man." Because I'm not going to share that with you. It's like I haven't helped you out enough. I'm just going to give you a YouTube channel. You want me to run to everybody's house, have them subscribe, then give you a script?
That would help. I mean, it'd make it easier.
I do want you to do that. Depending on how Connor comes back. Okay. Yeah, I think Connor McGovern's going to come back fine. Oh, I was just reacting to something I saw in the chat. Okay, let's bring up this from Eric Craig. Now I know what it's like to not be able to get to everybody's chat. Like you see, Green Bean said, you're going to find out how hard this is. Okay.
Yep. Actually, Sunday in our live stream, this is the first week where I'm like, I left so many comments not discussed. It's unbelievable. Once the chat starts picking up, it's amazing what you miss.
Yeah. Well, that's why I don't have to worry about super chats or anything like that. But that's why on Thursdays I'm back there helping him out, like because a couple of times you miss a super chat. That's like it's the last thing Green Bean wants to happen, right? Or anybody.
Right.
Somebody gives you money and does the chat, and then you don't see it because you're so busy. So, that's one of the reasons I'm back there, and now I understand and I get it because I'm yelling at him like I'm his mother, like a Jewish mother. Like I'm in the private chat going, "You old fool! Like, don't you see it's like $5.99 from Bismo Charisma? Read the damn message." I'm like a nag, and it's like, and he's like, "Man, you don't understand. It's not so easy to see those super chats." And now I'm seeing it. I got 2 screens up here. I'm looking at these different chats. We're going to need offensive linemen in the 1st or 2nd rounds. Our center now has an MCL. He won't come back as strong. Definitely not last as long now. The other thing about McGovern, I'll say, is that he also is owed, I think, a little over $9 million if we want him back, but it's optional. So we were already thinking, Jet fans, that we were going to try to renegotiate that, and we weren't going to give him the $9 million, maybe. But now that you consider the fact that he has this injury, are they going to exercise that option? Are they going to give him the $9 million?
Right. Agreed. Yeah. Well, I mean, why not save it and maybe bring him back on a little bit better, friendlier deal, and then still draft a guy and see what happens there.
Well, a good thing about McGovern is he could play right guard also. So you're just adding to the competition at right guard. Right. So, and you don't have to get Linderbaum. Like there's Lindstrom, there's Patterson, and it's in the chat.
Patterson, I like Patterson as well.
Yeah.
Who you could probably have in the, I'm looking at him now. They have him 69th. So that's, late 2nd, early 3rd.
Okay. My brother is asking, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because I'm wondering why he asked this. He goes, Jeremy, I forget. What would make you eat a spoonful of the Last Dab hot sauce in a stream? I need to get to 200 subscribers, Matthew. I've made that very clear. When I get to 200 subscribers, I'm going to eat a teaspoon of the Last Dab.
And that's and what you're not gonna take any milk or anything?
Not until I complete the mock draft. So I have to go through an entire Jets mock draft before I'm allowed to drink anything. So I'm going to say this from the beginning. Don't expect me to sit there and think about every move and consider every trade. It's going to be the fastest mock draft you've ever seen in your life. Okay, because it's real pain. Okay, some people can guzzle that stuff. I am not one of those people. I am a wimp.
I can't. I can't have hot sauce, but man, I can't. I don't know how you're going to be able to do that.
Yeah. So, oh no, well, I mean, if you go to my Cravat Attack channel, you'll see I do it. As much as I'm in pain and agony, I do it. So Rusty's like a lot of us, really high on Lindenbaum. Then you saw the other centers who were coming out. Let me tell you something about Patterson and Lindstrom, those guys. They are guys who could play year one, probably. Mm-hmm. But if McGovern comes back fine and we do keep him signed, those are guys also I wouldn't mind if they started the year not playing. And
where's Lindstrom? Boston College, right?
Yeah. Like I don't think those are necessarily guys that have to be start game one and be plug-in guys right from the beginning. I think they're good enough that they might be able to be. But if we keep McGovern and draft one of those guys, I have no problem with them developing, on the bench and just like in practice, like no problem with that at all.
Right. Agreed.
Let's see. What do we got from Rusty? Highlights. Okay, so I had I lost it. Look at that. What is this?
John Nolte said you won't be able to read the draft board. Your eyes will be tearing up.
Oh my God, you're right. That actually might be a risk that I have to get rid of. Peo asked this forever ago. I'm so far behind. Who is the next coach to get fired?
Man, let's take a look here.
Well, we all know that Joe Judge is in a lot of trouble, but there's rumors it'll be Gettleman and not Joe Judge. I would say the Carolina guy, Matt Rule, is on the hot seat.
I would say Rule's on the hot seat as well. Can't think of his name. The guy from the Bears. I can't think of the head coach from the Bears at the moment. I think that's the next guy to get fired. The guy from the Bears.
Oh, okay. Oh, I agree with that. Matt Nagy.
Yeah, Nagy.
Yep. Yeah. He's definitely. I think he's gone.
But yeah, I agree. Some of the guys, Judge. I believe Judge will be gone unless I don't know. The Giants. Are they gonna? Now the Giants should do what the Jets did and clean house, and but we'll see if they do that. I can't believe the Giants have up until the last few years have been one of the teams that since I've been a fan have always been competitive. Like this is the first time I can remember them ever going through something like this.
Yeah. Definitely. And by the way, I got distracted because I see Gitmo saying it doesn't matter how Green Bean evaluates players. It's how JD does. Yeah, for the Jets that matters. But for my fun,
right.
For my personal fun, for me to look smart, I want to know how to evaluate players so I can see I told you that guy was going to be good.
Green Bean needs to teach a class on how to evaluate college players.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd pay for that.
Yeah, and Sneaker says if we don't get one of the top two pass rushers, we'll be okay. We have so many positions to fill right now, and
I don't like that take. This is the year we have to get an edge.
I think we have so many holes that I see what he's saying. Like it's going to be a 3-4 year rebuild, and we're going to be getting guys. The only concern I have. And John, I think we're on the same page about this, is that we're hoping this is the last year that we're up so high in the draft. We're hoping to win 7 to 8 games next year. And it's very hard from those positions to fill the edge position. And this is a very top-heavy edge draft where there's incredible talent and potential in those top few picks. And it just like with quarterback, it's not easy. You don't always get the opportunity to get, such a like where you're not throwing darts, but such a likely hit on an edge.
Mm-hmm.
But I do understand how Sneaker feels that we have a lot of holes to fill. Because, and I say that in some of
Right.
my drafts, like I missed on edge, but I filled 6 spots, guys, like,
Right.
but I think that we're a little sensitive to it because a lot of us like Gitmo Bob that go back a long way, me and Green Bean, and Salty Nuts. We go back to a time where we remember Gastineau and Klecko
Right.
and what it really meant to dominate the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And I think that most Jet fans here definitely got that feeling with offensive line in 2010, 11, like they knew what it was like to have a great offensive line.
Right.
And we've had some pass rushers, but nothing was like those years of the sack exchange.
And I remember those guys because 86 was my first year. Those guys were already at the end of their careers. I mean, still putting up decent, seven sacks a year, but I did not see the couple of years there where they put up 20 sacks.
Right. But I think Sneakers would agree that he's saying that we might not need it this draft. He's not saying we don't need an edge to where we want to meet our ultimate goal. Because if you look at how did Tampa beat Kansas City in the Super Bowl? Mahomes was running for his life.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right. How did the Giants win all their Super Bowls? Right. How did the Giants beat Brady?
Right.
Pressure. So, I mean, it's one of those kind of things when you when you write that list of 5 things to win a Super Bowl, pressuring the quarterback because that to go through the playoffs and to go win a Super Bowl, you're going to at some point, even if it's not in the Super Bowl, you're going to play some very good, if not franchise legendary quarterbacks to do it.
Right.
So, and the only way to beat those guys is to make them uncomfortable.
Yep.
So it might not, it's that I think we all agree we need edge. I think Sneakers just feels like it doesn't have to be this draft. I would say
and he's not saying not get him. He's just saying the top 2. If we miss out on the top 2, which there are other guys worth taking later on in the first round.
Right. We could take a Jabu or whatever, or George.
Right.
I worry about Hutchinson because we have 2 draftable edges on the same team. Yeah.
Right.
I thought about that too. Each one has the other. And people say, yeah, but he'll have Carl Lawson.
But like you said, we don't know how Lawson's coming back.
Right. But even if we did, it's a different level. It's the NFL versus college. I think what Joe is saying is there's just 2 guys that help each other that aren't necessarily would be as successful. Like maybe they'd be good, but they wouldn't be so hyped if it wasn't for each other.
Right.
So I was worried about that until I saw Hutchinson in his last game, that game, that the championship game, the Pac-10 game, or no, the Michigan. What am I saying? Pac-10.
No, the Michigan, Big Ten game.
The Big Ten game, the Michigan game. He was just bulldozing over people, man. I was like, the guy's a freak.
And those, and the game against Ohio State and in that Big Ten championship game, that's what jumped him up to the top of draft boards.
Yeah. True. Do you think Russell Wilson ends up like McNabb and can't throw anyone? Could Russell be elderly bust? I think that he took a long time to come back from that injury. I think he had an injury and he rushed back. And I think it was very obvious if you look at how he played those first couple of games he got back. But I think after last week, I think he's better. And I think he's showing it was the injury because he played really well in the last game. That loss wasn't on him.
And what do you think? I agree with you. I think I think he is healthy now. But what do you think? Do you think there's a chance that Seattle might trade him? I mean, why? How hard is it to get a franchise quarterback? You have one. Why would you trade it away?
I would never in a million years. My brother asked me the same question during the Sunday afternoon.
Well, maybe that's where I heard. Maybe that's where I heard it.
Yeah. My brother said to me, he goes, "Would you trade him if you were Seattle?" And I said, "I would go to Russell Wilson and say, what do you want to be happy? How do we get you to stay here? What is it that you feel you need? How have we failed you?" That's what I would do, because there are franchises like ours that can go how many years without finding a quarterback like Russell Wilson?
Mm-hmm.
And this is, of course, assuming you're not one of those people who think he's overrated. I don't know how anybody can watch football and think that Russell Wilson is overrated. He's amazing.
Right.
If you watch him play, he's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how an organization would be ready to pass up on him, especially because most of the years I feel like he has not had a great offensive line. And I think most of his years in this league, he hasn't had great receivers. He's had okay receivers. I'm not saying he's never had good receivers, but it's not like he ever had that Marvin Harrison. It's not like he ever had that Randy Moss,
Right.
or that Andre Hopkins, or or Julio Jones, and like it doesn't feel like he's ever had that guy.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like the last couple of years it was coming along. Like I feel the last couple of years was his best chance to have like his best receiving corps ever. But then there seems to be issues, and I think it has to do with being divas. But that's a whole nother story. Yeah, like now wide receivers don't even wait until they're great to be divas. They start to become divas once they do a couple of good things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think when you look at his situation, I think it's even more impressive of the quarterback he is. And I don't think Seattle would have had nearly the success with anyone but a great quarterback at the helm. So I don't know how they would trade him. I don't know what would possess them to do that.
Yeah. I wouldn't do it, but
you
never know. If for some reason Carroll leaves and they want to completely start over, but
yeah, it's hard to imagine. It's just hard to imagine. He brought them to 2 Super Bowls. He won one. He makes them a contender every year.
Mm-hmm.
Every year that there's 2 reasons why I consider Seattle hard to beat and a contender every year going into the year before I look at anything else. Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Great coach, great quarterback. Done. Right? I think every football fan figures that out. You want a great coach and you want a great quarterback,
Mm-hmm.
and then you build everything else. But it's hard to imagine anybody arguing against that. I mean, it's historically it's proven. You want a great coach and you want a great quarterback. So John Salty Nut says I'm not going to be able to read the draft board when I do my mock draft after I eat the hot sauce. I think that's funny. It's true. Let's see. So Green Bean agreed with Gitmo that it's not important. It's important what JD. We all agree that it is important what JD's ability to evaluate is the most important. I'm just talking about our fun and being right. I like being right. I want to name players and be right. So people say that crazy Chaos Jeremy guy told me that Lindstrom was going to be a great center.
Well, and for me, it came down to I'm just learning to look into evaluate some of these players. And last year during the draft, the Jets took Moore, and he was never even somebody I even looked at because I'm like, well, it's not a position pressing need. But now with Joe Douglas, you have to look at every position because he's going to take who he thinks is the best player for the team.
Yeah.
Who's your guest?
Who's your guest? For people who weren't in the chat early, John Salty Nuts, this guest by name from the chats. This is the Postman, John Post, the content provider and the creator of Pure Adrenaline Fantasy Sports. And he is been in the Jets fam for a very long time. He's the moderator of Green Bean's show. And so you probably know the name, but you didn't recognize him because I don't think our names show up on the screen.
No,
so that's who I'm talking to, John. Gitmo. This isn't about your fun, Jeremy. It's about serious business.
Business.
But Gitmo, every year by week 6, there's no more serious business. So I've got to have some fun. I mean, where am I going to have my fun? It's certainly not coming from our team, but hopefully that's going to change.
I don't remember. What was the popular thing back when the Jets went to back-to-back AFC Championship games? Was YouTube even a thing then?
When what?
When the Jets went to back-to-back AFC Championship games? Like where did we get our news from? Where did we hang out with other fans and like we do now?
We didn't.
Yeah.
It was particularly hard for me because the years I lived in New York, I grew up having Jet fans around me. I would be at my friend Jason's house and, his brother and his father. And, we'd have people come over. Someone would bring a dozen Dunkin' Donuts, somebody, like the whole thing, the whole Brooklyn thing. You got your Dunkin', you got, and maybe we order a pizza later. And we had Jet fans to talk to. We didn't. And for me, before I discovered all this on YouTube, it sucked because I have like a friend that's a Jets fan a few blocks away, but he's got kids. So he's taking them to soccer practice, baseball practice. He hasn't got time to be a Jets fan. He hasn't got time to watch the games. So that's, one of the great things about technology. There's a lot of bad and a lot of good about social media. I think that one of the best things is this.
Right.
That we could sit here. I get to hang out every week with Green Bean and watch the Jet games.
Right.
Do you know the last time I've been able that I had a friend to hang out with to watch a Jet game? Like week after week. I mean, and everybody in the chat. But like literally we're together now. Like we are right now. I'm hanging out with somebody watching the Jet game. It's awesome. It's just an awesome thing. So yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know what we did. I guess we bought into all the stories and a lot of us were kept very ignorant. Like because we were having to rely on beat writers to tell us what to think.
Yep.
Although I grew up on Mike Lupica for the Daily News, and I always
Lupica. Yep.
So I loved him. So
yep.
I don't know if I'd love him now. I don't know. I don't know if that was just a different perspective because I didn't realize that. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just remember liking him a lot. So.
Right. Yep. Always get the paper to read Lupica. Yep.
3 to 4 rebuild. No, wits about me when they are good. Hey, I already don't have my wits about me, so
right. I mean,
too late for me.
Yeah.
I play videos of myself having a catch with my head. Okay. I'm gonna eat a teaspoon of the last dab and not drink something. I'm gonna try to do a mock draft. There's no wit left in this head. This is great because I got to tell you, you have okay. So Salty Nuts, this is what's really cool. I didn't meet the Sack Exchange. You were probably there a couple of years before me.
Oh wow!
But I went to my first training camp at Hofstra in probably '86. And all I remember was Gastineau coming out, and I just remember being in awe. Like he just was. Everyone else is in uniform dropping out, but he comes out like the light shining on him. He was bigger than life. He was already runes, like in the sense that he had already met Bridget Nielsen, so he was already whipped. And
wanting to become a boxer.
Yeah, he was but I mean, it was like at the end of all the glory. It wasn't his best self. Let's just say that. But I do remember it. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget seeing him in person. And man, I would love to get those photos. Hey, Salty Nuts, I'm not the right guy because I don't have this big an audience. But I think if you showed photos like that, like if you could like digitalize them and send them to Green Bean, I'm guessing I would imagine he would want to show them. I would imagine he'd put those babies up. And if he wouldn't, I sure as hell would. I'm just not going to be as presumptuous to think that I'm the right one to do it. But that would be amazing to see. It's just like if you could just take pictures of the pictures even. I would love to see photos of the whole Sack Exchange back from those days. Abraham was good. Bird was too. Yeah, we had some pass rushers.
Bird Bird was the first. He was the first jersey I bought. Once growing up, I finally got a job, and one of the first things I ever bought was a Dennis Bird jersey.
Yeah. Look, I'll never forget. I'm not going to say names because it might be private information to them. But the week after Bird got hurt, or right around that time that he had that injury, a friend of mine's father had a stroke and was in the hospital. And we went, and he's a huge Jets fan, and we went to the hospital and sat with him, and we were with him watching on a hospital TV the week after Bird got hurt.
Wow.
And we were supposed to lose the game or whatever. I think it may have been Buffalo, but I'm not 100% on that. And we got like 2 interceptions and tons of sacks. Our defense went berserk. And the entire game, we're just screaming, Bird, Bird. Like it was so obvious they were doing it for Bird.
Mm-hmm.
It was just amazing. I'll never forget that. Memory that stays with you forever. And I also remember him in Shea Stadium coming out on the crutches, walking out and saying like, hey, I'll be able to run around these bases again and I'm going to get better and all that good stuff. Abraham was good too, but those were good guys, but nothing was like the sack exchange. Like nothing was like, I mean, individually, Abdul Salam was probably independently the least known, but he was still with the other 3 amazing. Like he still was, he was part of that foursome. He was part of the sack exchange and he was really good. But the other 3 individually, you could talk about forever, right? So Mark Gastineau, obviously the sack dance. He made the sack sexy. You can call him the father of sacks or the inventor of sacks. Then you go to Klecko. The amazing thing about Klecko, more than just his ability to pass the pressure of the quarterback, was not just that was he versatile, that he could play interior, that he could play edge, that he could play nose tackle, but he played all those positions at a Pro Bowl level. And that's what's amazing. It's like how many defensive linemen are there in history that could play Pro Bowl level nose tackle, interior line, and edge, no matter where you stick them on the line. And to me, that was what was amazing about Klecko. Marty Lyons was like one of the greatest human beings. He used to always be like man of the year. I mean, so he was a great player, very solid, lasted a long time for us, but he was also the best person, like just the greatest human being. So he was great for the Jets community. And then Abdul Salam was more near the end of his career. So I guess when I became a fan, because I remember him from the sack exchange years, but then I don't remember him much after that.
Yeah. When I became a fan, I don't remember him. I remember the other 3 guys, but I don't remember him at all.
And I absolutely agree, Sultan. It is a travesty. It's something that it needs to change. It's only because he's a Jet. There's just nobody that understands Joe Klecko or followed his career would ever believe if you told them he's not in the Hall of Fame if they didn't know. It's just an absolute travesty. It's an absolute disjustice. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Jets fan. There's so much to back it up. The numbers, just watch the tape. And it's not like he didn't go far, right? He made it to the AFC Championship game with his team. It's not like they were like a basement team. Obviously, Peo would love to see Wilson get traded.
Yeah.
But that just tells you how stupid it is to trade, right? When your rivals want you to do it.
Right.
Mims Jr., is that like Mims' brother? Does he have a younger brother or something in college? What does that mean? Or is Mims a Mims Jr. and I didn't know it?
I don't know.
Because he's saying kid is bowling out. I know Mims is not a dad. He doesn't have a son.
Right. I don't know. Let's see here.
Let's think about social media. Oh, my brother answering before was saying the way we got our news was soup cans connected by a string. Thanks for the compliment. I'm sure there was absolutely no bias in this one.
Right. Questionable. That's questionable right there.
Let's see. Oh, my computer's acting all funny and weird. It's like selecting every comment at the same time. That would look cool on screen.
I wonder. I looked him up. There's a Marvin Mims, plays for Oklahoma.
Okay, maybe that's like his younger brother or something, or his cousin. Young Denzel's younger brother. He plays for Oklahoma and just caught a 60-yard touchdown bomb. All right.
Oh.
That's cool as hell. You need an email address. Oh, okay. jcravat, JKREVAT, jcravat@gmail.com. That's easy. I give my email. I'm not afraid. It's just a Gmail email. jcravat.
Yeah.
I'll even put it. jcravat. Right, 1 second, chat. jcravat. Let me see, put it up here. Where's this? jcravat at gmail.com. And yeah, if you send me those pictures, I'll put them up. I'll give them to anybody you want. If you want me to give them to Green Bean, I will. If you want me to show it on my channel, I will. Whatever you want.
Your brother is all excited. He said he finally has your email address.
Yeah, he's a comedian. What could I speak? Flash Gordon. Flash. He saved every one of us. Bring me the ball worms. Okay, now I'm going to just start quoting Flash Gordon. Darn it, we just got engaged. I could quote that movie all day. Johnson was a giant. Yeah, Gastineau, man. He was bigger than life, I'm telling you. He was amazing. Let's see. So Denzel's younger brother plays. That's pretty cool to know. I don't think the Jets will be taking him. Well,
no, probably not.
So
I believe he's only 19 years old, I think. So I think he's going to play at least another full season, right?
I think so. I wasn't even aware. It's interesting. It's interesting to know. I'm going to check that out. That's weird that I didn't know that. You think it would have come up in some of the chats or something at some point.
Mm-hmm, right.
Gitmo Bob says, I believe the Jets ownership is the reason why Clucko isn't in the Hall of Fame. Both the Johnsons and Haas never publicly pushed for it. Clucko was way better than Harry Carson.
Agreed. Clucko was better than Harry Carson. Well, I remember that both at the end of their careers, but yeah.
Yeah. And I have nothing against Harry Carson being in the Hall of Fame. I mean, great linebacker, right? He's part of that amazing tandem. But when you look at it from that perspective, it's absolutely ridiculous. That's actually the best argument I've ever heard. I love Harry Carson, so I would never say it to disrespect Harry Carson. I grew up watching him play too. But you can't sit there and tell me that Harry Carson was a bigger impact player than Joe Klecko. Like, no way in a million years. Joe Klecko was an all-pro caliber player at every defensive line position. He was absolutely amazing. And that is absolutely ridiculous. That when you put it that way, Gitmo Bob, that's probably the best argument I have ever heard. Somebody justify how you could put Harry Carson in the Hall of Fame and not Joe Klecko. Let's see. What's this?
Don't read that. Don't read that.
Oh, okay. Well, what? What the hell is that? I don't even know what that means. Okay. So we're gonna wrap up. Yeah, Harry Carson played next to LT and Klecko played next to Gus. No, exactly.
Yep.
We're going to wrap up. I want to thank everybody who joined today, who viewed, who came, who spoke with us. I want to remind everybody on Sunday actually tomorrow. You on tomorrow, John?
Yes, 7:00.
Tell them what to do.
Oh yeah, our show, Pure Adrenaline Fantasy Sports. My co-host Sean and I every Thursday at 7. We live stream. This is the first week. without a Thursday night game, but we're still gonna go on and preview all the games for Week 17. Most fantasy leagues probably have their championship round this week, so we'll be discussing all the games then, and then also Sundays at noon Eastern time. We do the same thing. Usually talk about the Thursday night game, and then discuss any of the injury news and stuff at noon on Sunday before the games kick off, so you can set your lineups with the most up-to-date information.
Okay, I look forward to getting that email, Salty Nuts. Thank you, John. Thanks so much for being my guest in week 2. Couldn't have done this without you. I appreciate you being here. And I know you'll be around my channel more, and I'll be around your channel more. It's nice to have some Jets fam helping me out. And it's nice that if I could help you out, it's really nice to have. I don't think I could do it without that. So
yeah, I agree. Thank you.
Yeah. So everybody, thank you so much. Again, I will be back next week. I'll have my videos up before that. Tomorrow there'll be a prediction video. I think it's John's going to join me with that. We're going to make our NFL predictions. Also, you can catch John's show, and then Sunday morning I'll be on with him probably again. I usually am. And hopefully I'll be on Jets Nation with Green Bean. As long as he sends me the link, I'll be there. And I'll be putting out those mock drafts and putting out other weird videos off and on. And as soon as I get to 200, everyone will get the information of when I will be back with a mock draft with the hot sauce. I see Rusty Spooner, Jets fam. What's up, brother? Again, like saying goodbye with a fist. I love that. Thank you, everybody. Have a great one. Enjoy the rest of your week, and if we don't talk in the chat, have an incredible New Year.
A 1-15 team takes a running back. You just took your franchise quarterback. You had a running back. And I'd be pissed if I was a Jacksonville fan. I love that, talking about Green Bean. He'll never find out. Believe me, nobody knows better what it looks like when an organization is about to go to shit than a New York Jet fan. And Justin Fields proved that he can hold it together. He can regroup. It's okay if he struggles. And we got a big game against the Eagles, and maybe you need some energy, so wake up! We have every right to expect the Jets to win. Rich Cimini, schmuck, putz,